Hey guys, welcome to NIJ College Debates. My name is Priyanka and we are here at Plenty Cafe in Mumbai. We are going to be talking about Ayushman Bharat today. The launch is in 24 days, September 25th. It's September 1st. Today I am here with...
My name is Om Marathe. I study at GLC. I'm an engineer. I've worked in business development, so a diverse background.
I'm Adya Jain. I have just entered GLC and I'm in my first year.
I'm Siddharth Singh, studying in Government Law College in my third year right now.
Hi, I'm Janay. I'm studying at the Government Law College and I'm in my second year.
The Ayushman Bharat now is about to target over 100 million poor and vulnerable families. So now let's talk a little bit about, this is going to be like Obamacare, this is going to be Modi Care of India, and it's the trend is definitely to go towards a more integrated healthcare system. So one, let's talk about your stance on this initiative. One, is it a good thing? And then I guess we'll talk about the ways that it can be implemented and the ways that it is being implemented.
So for the first time, such a scheme is going to be implemented on such a massive scale, and it's a great thing because it's a bipartisan effort. It's something that we've been doing for the past 3 decades, so it's the next big step that's happening in the healthcare sector as far as the government is concerned.
I do feel that it's a good initiative by the government, and everything is being positive about it, but now the major issue before it is how it is being implemented, which we need to look after. The things which are said about the schemes are the statistics or the basic knowledge which we have. It is being targeted at a large scale of people, I feel, and the government should handle it. I don't know it can or not, but it should. So it's my opinion that the government should look at the scale at which it is implementing this.
See, our Indian budget, we allocate a large chunk of amount to food security budget, giving food for free, subsidized rates and everything. But healthcare, on the other hand, we give around 1.5% of the budget, mere 1.5% of the budget to healthcare. So I think it shouldn't be Modi Care. It should Modi Should Care. The name of the new program is coming. But then I believe, see, on paper it looks like a solid plan. I have my hopes high on this. Like Modi ji can do great stuff. So let's see how it goes.
Particularly in my opinion, I think it's quite a game changer in today's time because as compared to the Rashtriya Bimal Yojana, which was the previous scheme, which offered approximately 30,000 rupees, this one's offering you 5 lakh rupees. So the magnitude is entirely different. So that's where it is much more efficient. And secondly, I think Arun Jaitley said this in his budget speech, that when a person is healthier, he tends to work better, because a lot of times what happens is that healthcare is so expensive that in distress a person tends to sell their cattle, they tend to sell their farm machinery, they tend to take more loans, and they kind of get stuck in a bad cycle. But with the 5 lakh rupees available to them, it gives them much more of a security, and it shows that the government really cares for them in a manner apart from other policy initiatives. So I think this is a step in the right direction, and it's the way to begin with it. And there of course will be a lot of discussion and deliberation regarding the implementation, but that can only be seen once it actually is implemented.
Now you guys all think that it is a great step, and it's much bigger than what existed in terms of healthcare before, right, in the country, than previous schemes, I should say. So in terms of now implementation, right, there is a federal or a national level to this, and there is also a local level. Does someone want to talk about that? One, explain it, and two, talk about it.
One of the salient features that, apart from increasing the cover, which is 5 lakhs, so it's a targeted program. So for example, we've had a socio-economic and caste census. So a caste census has happened for the first time since independence. It happened once during British rule. So all SC/ST rural households are included. So as you've mentioned, there's 10 crore households, and this includes all rural SC/ST households, irrespective of disabilities, which so the 10 crore has been taken from something called the deprivation data that has been taken from the SECC, but it includes all SCs/STs. So that's one unique feature, and that's something we should appreciate.
Going back towards implementation, right? I think on the national level, there is a sort of agency that will take care of it. On the sort of local level, the state levels, I should say, something like the SHA, right? State Health Agency will take care of it. What are your thoughts on this?
The good part about this central scheme is it shows how India works as a federation and as in a unitary system of a government. So the budget implemented for this program, it's 60 for the center, 40 for the state. The budget goes on to. So the budget is shared. There is interstate, state center working together. So it would be very helpful in reaching out to people, because see, a lot of programs which actually happens in our country, they are great. Manreka, everything is really great. 90 days employment, amazing. But do they actually reach to the people? That is the main problem. Now this seems to open a new, like, rays of hope for it to reach to people.
So, along with the aspect of the NHA, the National Health Agency, another body which will play a prominent role in this is the Niti Aayog as well as the insurance scheme. So, actually, this is an amalgamation of several sectors coming together for a scheme of this magnitude to be a success.
One of the principal challenges about implementation is that hospitals feel that they are doing some kind of favor to patients who are getting admitted. So how do you change that mindset of hospitals and tertiary care centers? That's the biggest challenge.
If I am even going shopping for a very small thing, like a t-shirt or clothes or whatever, when it shows me like this is how much it costs, this is the tax that is there, this is what is going to be charged, I am in my head like much more clearer about, okay, this purchase is going to cost me this much. I understand what this purchase is. Now, when you cross-apply that to healthcare and people see like payments online that they can make, and it's much easier to make that payment, it's much easier to receive that payment through this type of a platform. Do you think that would be kind of changing that mentality and mindset?
I wish it were that way. I wish it were that clear. So the first example that you gave, did you go to a shop and you know exactly what you're paying for? Right. That never happens in a hospital in India. You get admitted, you will never know what bill you're going to get when you get discharged. So one of the principal problems with this scheme is that hospitals have to opt in to this scheme, private hospitals. Right. So one of the debates is cesarean operation, government is ready to pay 8,000. The actual cost is 50,000. So many hospitals won't even join this scheme because there's no money in it for them. So this clarity they've not been able to achieve. I mean, there's a lot of work that they have to still do. That they've announced this scheme, but the nitty-gritty is they have to really work them out.
Also, talking about cashless, see, India is moving towards digitization and everything without but then cashless is the point which we should be looking forward to. The targeted audience is not one of us. We have our life insurances set, but then we know how technology works.
Not the targeted audience.
Yeah, we are not. So the targeted audiences are those rack pickers, those BPL families which actually do not understand money in the first place. They should understand cashless as a system, which would be really difficult for them to. My point is that we need to educate them first to how to use them.
So actually, I'm in a slight disagreement with Om right here, because actually a lot of the top hospitals in India, even ranging from the Medanta chairman, Dr. Naresh Trehan, has been an active endorser of this scheme. And even the Apollo group of hospitals, the Reddy family, they have endorsed their support as well. And these are some big hospital chains, and if with them coming on board, this is obviously a positive sign. And secondly, there actually was a cesarean operation success yesterday where there was an application of a payment actually for rupees 9,000. I think it was covered in the newspapers today. So change is a process which takes time, right? It's not the most instant thing. So with 1 on board, 2 on board, 3 on board, and with the positive success out there, and hospitals are making a lot of money, so it's time I think they do some good for society as well.
Although it is a targeted program at this point of time, a good thing that the Prime Minister has at least declared is that he plans to increase the coverage to all families. So it begins with these 10 crore, and then the plan is to include even the upper middle class families. That's what he's declared from the Red Fort. So what I'm looking at is we should be not looking at a targeted program but a universal program, because only universal programs, many experts say, really work. So it shouldn't be a Modi care, it should be a national health service like the British system, where you and I can go and even the poorest person can go and we'll get the same treatment. That should be the objective.
The way that he's going about it now, that he's targeting 100 million families right now, poor and vulnerable families, and then growing it to be bigger, Because now in this country, I feel that just introducing a universal plan, it's great, but there's a lot that you need to think about in terms of implementation from the cultural as well as the infrastructure, right? As well as from an education standpoint, that people won't even understand what this some people will not even know that, one, this program is in existence, and two, how they can utilize it and what the way to utilize it. So do you feel that the way that the government is going about it is smart? Is it not smart? What do you guys feel?
We live in a country where, I mean, there are great programs which were announced in parliament day and night. But then, see, for example, in UP, there are no oxygen cylinder reaching the hospitals. Huh? We are talking about 10 crore households, that's around 55 crore people, healthcare system, 5 lakh coverage and everything, around 1500 surgeries and everything being covered inside it. But then what's the point if there is no oxygen? That's the basic thing which is needed. Aim for the moon, you might land up in stars, but then you might even crash land, to be honest, if we talk in such large scales at first.
I particularly believe targeted families is the targeted aspect of the scheme is the way to go, because in India, if you look at it, the needs right now are diverse, and we are fortunate enough that we are privileged that we're not in the targeted family aspect right now, particularly for each one of us. And there is a section of society which needs it a lot more than we do currently. And therefore, if the money is diverted towards those families, it will make a lot more sense. And secondly, comparing this scheme to schemes like the United States of America, England, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves, because on a very simple aspect, your taxation there is, let's say, 55%. You're paying 30% tax here, and that's also 2 to 3% of society. So we need to see what we're asking for in respect to what we're giving in the first place as well.
Yes, it is a targeted program, and maybe that is the right way to go, because we are a poor country. There's no question about it. We can't afford something like universal healthcare to begin with. This is still an insurance model. State is still not taking the task of building infrastructure the way it should. So we've discussed Ayushman Bharat's national health protection part, but the other part is to build primary healthcare centers. So the state is also going to build 150,000 primary healthcare centers all over the country. So it is creating infrastructure, but should do a great deal more. So the state is just leaving it to the privates. So it's going to give these 10 crore families 5 lakhs, but they are just going to take their money to these private hospitals. The state should rather spend this money building its own infrastructure. I mean, that's my opinion.
Let's talk a little bit about infrastructure, right? Now, basic bed capacity, right? We have currently, what is the stat that I have? 33% of people are covered by the scheme who have not had health insurance in the past at all. And in terms of infrastructure, we currently have something like approximately 135 million beds. For now, there will be approximately something like 180 million covered. I think it's even more than that. So in terms of building infrastructure like beds, forget centers, right? In terms of beds, how do you feel the best way to go about it is?
Ayushman Bharat is a good beginning, but the state is for the first time recognizing that healthcare should be a top priority. So it's a good start. But what I'm saying, I'm not criticizing that. I'm saying it's a good start. I'm saying the state should do more. It should.
That's what I was asking you. Do you feel that a scheme like this brings a little bit more accountability to the states to do more?
Yes, I mean, and you can see that trend over the decades. That's already been happening. Although I think if the momentum should continue, and we've seen from empirical data the countries that have had public institutions, public hospitals, good quality public hospitals, universal programs. Take the comparison between the UK and the US, for example. Both rich countries, both world leaders. I mean, the US society is not as healthy as compared to the UK's society. In the UK, everything from a common cold to cancer is free, is treated for free. This is what we should strive for. I'm saying the way we should be going is towards the UK way, not the US way. But I mean, it's a good start. I mean, at least the topic is in the national, conscience now. That's a great thing.
I'd just like to come back to the aspect of bringing in more beds, which was a clear concern for many in the scheme. So the whole idea was that, the primary healthcare centers, there are 150,000 of them being developed. And secondly, it is pretty important to involve the private sector as well, because in today's time and day, every time the government invests more in, let's say, in the public sector, there's a big chunk of critics will say that okay, the government sector is dilapidated, it is slowed down, and therefore we must involve the private sector to bring in the efficiency. And if we bring in the private sector, then there is a big chunk of critics which will say that, okay, there's the other side of it. So I think the hybrid form which we're moving into right now, where there are the 1.5 lakh wellness centers as well as private sectors and private hospitals coming on board, it's a fair enough start, and we can only review this success, let's say, a year later on the 1st of September, preceding 25 days to 1 year of Ayushman Bharat.
Now let's go around, and I just want to get, now we've kind of talked about like the infrastructure of it, implementation of it. You guys all seem to think that this is a good initiative, good start, but a lot more needs to obviously be done, which it needs to be seen whether it is going to be done or not. Let's talk about some of the impacts of this. Now, why do you feel that this scheme is going to be beneficial? If you could name one, just maybe each one of you name one thing, why do you feel that this will help our country move forward in terms of integrated health?
If you treat your people well, if your people are healthier, your economy grows faster. It's as simple. You educate your people, you make sure your people are healthy, your growth rate becomes faster, you achieve your economic targets earlier. So it's a direct correlation. I mean, that's a great start.
Stating an impact for the scheme is, we can say that the most of the poor families have the major tension about their health, that how if they get ill, how will they go to hospitals, how will they arrange for the money, and this is the most primary question when it comes. So relieving those people from such a big tension is a great start. Thinking about people's health, taking their issues, taking one of the major issues, taking an issue like health, it's a great start for the country.
Every year, 5 crore families become poorer in India because they have to spend from their pocket. That will change with this, hopefully.
See, like he said, 5 crore people are getting poorer. So the income gap between the rich and the poor is increasing day by day. Richer is getting richer, poorer is getting poorer. We do need a Robin Hood policy now. We do need a socialist policy coming into the picture to growing capitalist India right now. So this is a good start. The impact is going to be great. It's going to get Modi ji in power again, I feel. So let's just hope for the best.
I think everyone spoke about the healthcare and the health benefits, so I don't think there's much I can add. But the only thing I would like to bring in is that this can have a booming impact on your GDP, especially with your insurance sector, your healthcare sector, the number of jobs this will generate on its own. So I think apart from the health, I think this is doing a lot more good in other aspects as well.
Thanks, guys. I think that concludes it. Round of applause.
NIJ is lit!